Hello everyone. Thanks for joining us in the episode number 9 of the Q&A series with Suresh GP. Today, we're going to talk about an important topic in the DevOps/SRE world called containers. Now, what is containers? Now, before we start about containers, we need to understand what has been the journey so far in how we have evolved. In the erstwhile days, we started with monolithic applications, which then moved on to have virtual machines, and now we are moving into containers. Now, containers, in a very plain layman term, is a standard unit of software that packages up code and all its dependencies so the application can run quickly and reliably from one computing environment to another. A computing environment could be Linux, Unix, Windows, or in any other environments to play around. So one of the important reasons is to package all the dependencies. When we say dependencies, we are talking about the binary, the codes, everything put together so that you can deploy it in any environments without having a lot of hassles. Now, the second question is, what is it then a difference between a virtual machine and a container? Now, we have to understand that virtualization is where we package a software along the copy of the operating system on which it runs. So the package is called virtual machine. The image of the operating system is bundled in the VM, is called the guest operating system. So between the guest operating system and the host, we have something called hypervisor, and that is facilitating the access of the underlying OS to the guest OS. Now, in terms of containers, we don't have the hypervisor. So in a very plain layman term, VMs were much more heavy weighted compared to containers, and because of the size that we focus on. So we have now evolved from VMs to containers. Now, what is the advantage of having a container? So the first one is, even if you have monolithic applications, we can break this down into microservices and then package it as part of containers. So that way, the opportunity that you didn't gain because the monolithic applications requires a lot of time for releases gets much more easier now because you have broken down in terms of microservices, packaged it in terms of containers, and we can deploy it much more popular in the way we work. Now, what are some of those popular container technology that we see today? The first one has been the evolution of Docker. The Docker was the first container technology that evolved to setting up this so that all developers were able to check in their code much easier, package it so that they don't need to be worried about which environment that they get deployed. Now, as we start to evolve with multiple workloads of containers, the de facto area that we are focusing today is about Kubernetes. I hope that gives you some insights about containers, the difference between containers and VMs, and their benefits. So thank you everyone for watching this episode. I look forward to having you in our next episode. Until then, stay safe and thank you very much.